Welcome to Apricot Cottage Studio. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Oliver, BC, and today we're going to see some cards from the Sweet as a Peach set from Stampin' Up! It's got a stamp set and matching dies. And I've made several cards, and we're going to demonstrate a few. So with just simple stamping, you can get a beautiful card. Thanks for being sweet as a peach. So this, I stamped the leaves, and then I used some masking to stamp the peaches over top of the leaves, and then stamp some of the flowers inside. But the card we're going to do today is going to be a fancy fold, and it looks like this. This is a double easel card. So it's got a card base, and then it's got a flip out like this, and we're going to put this together. So we're going to start with regular size of our paper, and we're going to cut 2 strips. We're going to cut 4 1/4 by 11 1/2, and one of them we're going to fold in half. And that's just a thick white card base, and I've used thick so that it's nice and sturdy. And then I've used a piece of blue paper for the piece that goes on top. That is the same, slightly smaller because I wanted to have a little bit of a white edge. And then I scored it at 5 1/2 and 8 1/2 to get my flip out like this. So that's going to be glued onto the front of the card like this. I'll just glue that so it can dry. And I use liquid glue so that I can maneuver it a little bit easier. So I'm going to line it up, and I want to make sure that my base is lined up at the bottom. Match it at the bottom without having any overhang. There we go. And straighten it out. There we go, and that's my fold-out piece. Then I want to create some pieces to go on the inside. So I've used the scallop contour dies. I've used the second biggest one and the third biggest one to cut out 2 pieces. For the first card I did, I also cut the third piece, which gives it a lovely little lacy trim. But for this one, I've used one of the dies from one of my favorites, which is the Stitch So Sweetly dies, and it is an interesting shape, and I've used that on another card, so this was just a cutout piece. So I'm going to stamp the leaves, and the leaves are interesting because they're set up so that they have a space. I'm using garden green, and I'm just going to go on the edge and press my leaves down. And the leaves are designed so that they've got some texture to them, so they don't stamp solid color. They have some highlights and lowlights. And then for this one, I'm going to stamp the little wee peaches, and I'm going to do a rock and roll set. So I've got my old peach ink, and I've got flamingo because I want to have the peaches sort of ripe in the sun. So I stamp them in the peach, and then I just roll them a little bit in the flamingo. And if you line them up so the peaches are in the spaces, there we go. It has a lovely effect. Just close my ink pads. And I've already pre-stamped some of the larger peaches. So I'm going to, on my piece for the very front, I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals to give it a little bit of depth. And I'm going to put "Thanks for being as," and then the inside leaf. Again, it's a lovely watercolor effect because this is textured. There's my peach. So that's going to go on the very front of the card. Oh, I guess I should actually add some glue to that. There we go. And add that to the front of the card. And that's going to go on the easel part that sticks out the front. And then on the inside piece, I'm going to use the flowers, or maybe I'll use the peaches for this one. And I'm going to repetitively stamp. Some peaches by twisting and turning. And stamping on the edge. So I'm creating my own designer paper with the peaches. And I'm stamping twice so that it has some light and some dark pieces. That one's not very dark. There we go. So there's my peaches. So I've created my own designer paper on that little piece, and that's going to fit perfectly in the second piece of my easel. There we go. And then for this piece, I'm going to put Sweet as a Peach. So there's quite a few sayings in here, and they're a nice size. So maybe I'll do it in matching the blue. I'm going to use Dapper Denim. This is nice soft but dark blue. Make sure I turn it the right way. Sweet as a Peach. And that piece is going to be right on the card part. Like that. Make sure it's straight. There we go. So there's Sweet as a Peach and the peach paper in the bottom. And then I've left it so there's a little ruffle peeking out the top. Thanks for being as sweet as a peach. And on the inside it says, thanks so much. And again, I'm going to add one of my peaches that I've stamped. When I stamp, I usually stamp a whole pile, so that gives me lots to choose from when I'm designing cards. There we go. Thanks so much. And there is our fancy fold, which is a double easel card. I'm going to show you some of the other cards that I've made with this set, just for inspiration. So the first card that I showed you was a simple stamping card. Thanks for being sweet as a peach. And then this one, I've used the flower. So you can use this branch with the flower, or you can use it with peaches. And that says, to a sweet friend. I've used some DS from another set, and I've used the blue. There's the same cutout that I used with the Stitch So Sweetly dies. And then Have a Peachy Day inside. These little wee flowers also come with the stamp set, so they're a nice little accent. Then I used the peaches again as a background, and I used the new dies called ionic dies, and it has a little bird and a little bee, and I stamped the flowers at the bottom and they also have a little set of wee tiny leaves to make my Hello Friend card. And I die cut those two pieces to add some accents to the peaches. And then this card, you can see that I used the Stitch So Sweetly to do a cutout in the topper, and that was cut with the scallop contours again, the biggest one. And then I combined some of the fruit that we have. We have the strawberries and we have a strawberry punch. And I also used the raspberries and the blueberries from the free set that we got as a freebie last time. And I've made a fruit card, and it says, "Happy birthday, let's celebrate you," both of those sayings. It's nice that they have the big one and then the little tiny one to add some accents, and the little wee flowers. So there's my fruit cocktail card and my Sweet as a Peach card. So I hope you enjoyed seeing some inspiration for the Sweet as a Peach set. I think the Okanagan has peaches, so it's kind of an appropriate set for having here. And I'll be doing some more cards. Please come back and join me at Apricot Cottage Studio.